In other news, the main opposition challenger in Congo's presidential election, Brice Parfait Kolelas, has died. The 61-year-old was the main challenger in yesterday's election. Kolelas' election campaign director, Christian Rodrigue Mayanda, says the former minister was being transported to a hospital in France when he passed away. Kolelas tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday. His spokesperson, however, declined to give the cause of death, but said Kolelas died while he was being evacuated for medical treatment. In the run-up to Election Day, Kolelas addressed his supporters from his hospital bed, prompting them to rise up and vote and change.
Mes chers compatriotes, je suis en difficulté.
My dear compatriots, I am having trouble. I am fighting against death. But I ask you to rise up. Go and vote for change, so that I will not be fighting in vain. Rise up as one man. Make me happy. I am fighting, and you too go fight for change. Go ahead. You owe it to the future of your children. Fight.
De l'avenir de vos enfants. Battez-vous. Merci.
Let's go now to our correspondent in Kinshasa in the DRC, Ocamringa. Chris, many people who've watched that particular video of Mr. Kolelas finding it very emotional. What is the latest news on his passing and whether or not it was indeed COVID-19 related?
Well, the latest is that people, his supporters especially, are very disappointed about the news of his passing. Brice Parfait Kolelas was a main challenger of incumbent President Denis Sassou Nguesso, and they were hoping that he would, bring change in the country. President Denis Sassou Nguesso has led the country for 36 years. The election went largely peaceful, but then there was an incident in Congo-Brazzaville. We heard that from the camp of Kolelas, there was a journalist who went there to get some information. The supporters of Kolelas beat him up. They were saying that he was one of the people from the camp of incumbent president and that they are the people who killed him. So they do not believe that he died of COVID-19, although the manager of the campaign manager of Kolelas' camp said that he died of COVID-19 because he tested positive of the disease on Friday, and on Saturday he was taken to hospital in the Congo-Brazzaville in very critical condition, and on Sunday he died as he was being evacuated to France for treatment.
All right, so let's talk about that. Kolelas skipping his final campaign event on Friday after telling some reporters earlier that day that he feared that he had malaria. Do we know the symptoms that he was displaying and what led him to being, taken off to air transportation for him to get medical treatment? What were the fears around the symptoms that he was displaying?
Well, from what we have gathered so far is that he was sweating, he was feeling he had a fever, and he told people around him that he suspected he had malaria. So he was taken to a hospital, in a private hospital in the capital, Brazzaville, and the health officials there tested him for COVID-19 and found that he was positive. So what we have gathered so far is that he and his team decided very quickly to arrange to take him for a specialized treatment in France. And that happened. There was a plane that was flew to Congo-Brazzaville on Sunday, and as he was being taken home, unfortunately he succumbed to the disease and died of COVID-19. That's what we have gathered so far. It's a very sad moment. Many people were, looking up to him as the person who would, take over the reins of the Congo-Brazzaville.
And I want to talk about that, his legacy. He finished runner-up to President Denis Sassou Nguesso in the 2016 presidential election, and his own father was briefly the Congo's prime minister.
That's right. In one of the campaign rallies that Kolelas held, he said that his father, Bernard Kolelas, who was sent to exile by the same president, Denis Sassou Nguesso, chose him as the person who should lead the struggle to liberate Congo from what they say the dictatorship of the incumbent president. Of course, the camp of the president has denied all those allegations. They're saying they have been running a campaign to improve the lives of the Congolese people. He has been talking about agriculture and improving the lives of the youth. But then Kolelas was very critical of the president, especially in the 2016 election, before the 2016 election, when the president decided to change the constitution to allow him to have another shot at the presidency. And so he has been constantly, pointing out the faults of the president and informing the citizens that it's time to have a new leadership, to have things done differently in the oil-rich country where very many people are struggling to just put food on the table. And the country has also been going through an economic crisis that has been really brought about by the falling global prices as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. And so very many people wanted change, but many analysts who have been writing about this election that happened on Sunday said that it was not a surprise at all, that they believe that President Denis Sassou Nguesso is going to win the election because he has been in power for so long, and so all the state institutions are kind of fused with his party, the Congolese Labour Party, and so they don't see any opponent, really giving him a run for his money. They believe that he's going to win. So we are waiting for the Electoral Commission to announce.
Yes, to announce the results now.
Please go on.
I was saying I wanted to look at the timing then of Kolelas' death, and the fact that he had one of his main criticisms against the president was that it was a police state. So you were saying that you are awaiting word from the Electoral Commission on the results. But what is the mood like in the Congo, do you think, just given this backdrop, the timing of Kolelas' death, and that the 36-year rule of Denis Sassou Nguesso would continue?
Well, it's a sad mood. It's a sad mood that one of the leading candidates has passed on. People are very disappointed, but there has been peace. It has been largely peaceful, apart from the incident I mentioned earlier of a journalist who was beaten by people from Kolelas' camp. People are waiting, to hear from the Electoral Commission, because the law says after 4 days of the election, which happened on Sunday, then the Electoral Commission is supposed to announce the results. Now, the law in Congo states that the government cannot annul the election if one presidential candidate dies. The course of this election is just going to go on just as it was planned before. If one of the candidates had died before the campaign, then there would be a change. But now they're just waiting for the outcome. And according to people who have been visiting some of the polling stations, they're saying that Denis Sassou Nguesso got as much as 95% of the votes cast in some of the polling stations. Many people are saying this is not a surprise. They really were expecting him to win this election. So we're just waiting for Thursday, when the provisional results will be announced, and to know who is going to be the president of Congo.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. My colleague in Kinshasa, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Chris Ocamringa, speaking about the situation in Congo, Brazzaville.